Hey guys, this is Pharaoh2091, and welcome back to Let's Play Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutor's Path. Not really sure exactly where we left off last time, because it's been a few days since I've recorded this, but I think in the end we were kind of waiting on Karen and Dr. Young to show up, because we need them to testify about the autopsy report, because something seems off. And actually, we were as Edgeworth, we were like saying, you know, someone must have framed Kay. And now we gotta take a close look at the autopsy report. And there's one thing that's always been bugging me about this murder. It's the time of death. And now that I keep thinking about it, because I was watching one of my older episodes of this, and I noticed that apparently when Kay fell down, the time was like a little bit before midnight. So I'm starting to think that this has to do something with that. So let's just go ahead and just continue. There are no mistakes in Granny's autopsy reports. I've been working with corpses longer than you've been alive. There's no way I'd make a mistake in writing the autopsy report. Ouch! I got nothing to gain from falsifying the autopsy report, is what she says. See? There's nothing strange at all. Yes, that's right, you know. There's no way she would falsify it, you see? Under the name of the goddess of law, do you swear that this testimony is the truth? Of course! Granny would never tell a lie! We were asking Dr. Young. We don't need to hear from a third party. I'm not a third party. I'm on Granny's side. If you raise an objection to my testimony, you best prepare yourself, you ex-prosecutor. I will definitely expose the contradiction in the autopsy report. Okay. Not really sure what the hell I can contradict that right now, but I'm going to be pressing a lot. There are no mistakes in the report. Well, I was going to press on that. So, you're saying that there's no way Dr. Young could have made a mistake? Of course! Doctors can't afford to make mistakes. Doesn't mean that they can't make them. This is a world where just one misdiagnosis can end a long career. Which is probably true. I know that my granny at least would never... If I did something like that, you think they'd still let me run a hospital? Working with corpses as long as you've been alive. There's no way I'd make a mistake writing a report. The victim wore this raincoat after suffering a blow to the head, and yet there's not a single drop of blood on the front of the raincoat. Therefore, it's impossible for the head wound to have been post-mortem. Well, that's ouch. I don't need you to tell me that. That's what I wrote down from the very beginning. What? The autopsy report says the head wound was post-mortem. That's completely different. Yeah. I relayed to Karen what to put down in the autopsy report. After that, it was none of my beeswax. Relayed to Karen? Please elaborate on that. I relayed everything to Karen. After that, it was none of my beeswax. That's odd. I would like to verify once again that you saw what you saw when you examined the body. Like we said, ouch! Ooh, well, about that, she was done in by a thump to her noggin. Dr. Young, do you know when that happened? Before she died, of course. The wounds on her chest were post-mortem. That's what I relayed to Karen, so that's what should have been written in the report. That's what you relayed to her, eh? Finally beginning to see the truth. Okay, so something tells me on this statement. Let's take a look at the actual autopsy report. What's on it? Victim's body discovered in PS meeting room at an estimated time that was sometime between late last night and midnight. Cause of death was stab wounds to... see? That's not right. What she was just saying. Dr. Young, please confirm what this autopsy report says with your own eyes. I'll read it out for you. Ouch! Well, why is the granny all of a sudden? This autopsy report wasn't written by me. What? What do you mean? Here they go again, just smacking each other. I don't know. Why are you sweating? But Granny, I can't say that. What is going on here? Miss Jensen, if you are trying to keep the truth in the dark, then... in place of the goddess of law, I shall hear your confession. Judge Courtney is talking with Dr. Young in private. What? Is that true? Understood. I shall convey your words to everyone else, Dr. Young. I properly relayed the autopsy report orally to that child. It seems my granddaughter must have mucked it up when she was writing it down. Wow! She mimicked her voice perfectly! Oh, wow. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. There was no need for her to go that far, though. In other words, the contents of the autopsy report had been falsified. By your hand, Miss Jensen. Oh, I... With that, we've proven that the wound on her head came first, followed by her chest wound. Miss Jensen, why did you falsify the autopsy report? Hold on a second. She never said she falsified it, you know? She just made a teeny tiny mistake when she wrote it down. Post-mortem and antemortem sound kind of similar, you know? No, they don't. They're completely opposite. This is the very definition of falsification. Miss Jensen, why would you lie? Kate, ouch! I want you to tell me too. Why would you do something like that? Granny, but I... Because you falsified the autopsy report, Kay fell under suspicion. Tell me why you did it! I can't say. I just can't say it. Not I don't want to say, but I can't say? You're all a bunch of bullies, you know? Ganging up on this poor girl who loves her grandmother so... She's totally unrelated to this. I think we can forgive her for one tiny mistake. That won't do. Aren't you the one with the most to lose if she testifies? Hmm? And what are you saying? You see, as a former prosecutor, you'll have to speak a little more clearly, you know. Very well. As you wish, I shall answer clearly. Miss Jensen played an essential role in this case. I don't think she was a true culprit. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how she can be the victim, but... I guess the only thing that can make sense of why she would falsify something is because she had something to gain or lose from it, and I guess that makes her an accomplice. Ms. Jensen falsified the autopsy report in order to assist the true culprit. Ouch! This girl's an accomplice! What's your basis for that claim? It was impossible for a single person to commit this crime in the first place. The crime could not have been committed without at least two people. Namely because... well... The victim couldn't have been moved. The number of people wouldn't match, or the report couldn't have been faked. Okay, the report could easily be faked. I think that can just be eliminated, but... Well, even the first one can be eliminated. I guess the only one that's left then is the number of people wouldn't match then. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, actually, the whole 11 people, I think that's it. If the conductor was the culprit and one of the auction guests was the victim, it would contradict the witness's testimony that there were 11 people after the incident. What now? You got a problem with my testimony? Not at all. Rather, it's because I believe your testimony, that's why an accomplice must exist. So, you still will admit that your reasoning is wrong. Up until now, we had not even considered the possibility of an accomplice. However, if there had been an accomplice, it changes the entire story completely. If the accomplice took the murdered auction guest's place, then the number of people remains 11! Huh? That makes sense. Ooh, I see now. So that's what you're thinking. But you know, wouldn't that have been quickly discovered? Ms. Jensen and the victim has similar physiques. If she wore the victim's mask, she could have easily taken her place. Ms. Jensen, did you switch places with the victim? I wouldn't. Who was the conductor? In other words, tell me who the true culprit is. I can't. I mean, that would also cause trouble for Granny. Ouch! But, Granny... I will accept whatever wrongs you may have done. Just tell me everything. Granny! Oh my god, stop it! Stop it! Oh, what the hell? as I thought. It appears you're really worthy, accomplice. Miss Jensen, why? Miss Jensen, would you please tell us? Yes. It's okay, Granny. I'm fine now. After I slapped you 1,000 times, I switched places with the victim, Miss Crane. So you admit to being the conductor's accomplice? Yes, I helped out the conductor. I don't really know why, but for some reason, the conductor was expecting to be attacked by Miss Crane. The conductor expected an attack from the victim? They were so sure it was going to happen that they came up with a plan to counter it. A way to beat the victim at her own game. And that's when I was called in. I was told to wait in the storeroom before the auction began. Whoa there! You ain't fooling my eyes! If you were waiting in the storeroom, I reckon I would have bumped into you. After all, I've been up in that storeroom the entire auction. I'm telling the truth! I wonder about that, you know. Can we really believe a girl who would falsify a report? Huh. There shouldn't have been many places to hide in that storeroom. Then by all means, tell me, where did our little nurse hide? The place in the storeroom where Miss Jensen hid was... Oh, this should be easy enough. There's really not much evidence that hold anyone besides the good old trunk. She hid inside his costume trunk. A costume trunk? Now that you mention it, that box was already there before I snuck in. I figured I would hide in there myself, but it was wrapped up nice and tight with a chain. And it was locked too, so I had to give it up. I suspect that when you sneaked into the room, Miss Jensen was already inside the trunk. Yes, it would have been bad if one of the guests from the auction opened the lid. After instructing me to hide inside, the conductor wrapped a chain around the costume trunk. I think they went downstairs using the lift shortly thereafter. It was right before the auction. So then, when the auction began, only you and Miss Hart were in the storeroom. Well, yes, that should be right. The auction had been going on as usual, but when a certain participant made the winning bid, the conductor committed a crime. Miss Hart must have heard an altercation that occurred then. You betcha! I was trembling behind their statue the whole time, though. Following the altercation, Jill Crane was murdered. After killing Jill Crane, the conductor carried her body to the costume trunk. And Miss Jensen, who had been hiding in the trunk, was made to take Miss Crane's place. The victim's body was placed inside a costume trunk. The conductor then took Miss Jensen, who had been made to look like Jill Crane, and returned to the auction hall as if nothing had happened. Was that roughly what happened in the storeroom during the incident? Yes, that's right. Pulling the old switcheroo, one of the auction guests. Ain't that impossible? That gal and the murder victim are two completely different people, you know? Don't you reckon one of the other participants would have noticed and caused ruckus? No, not at all. The reason they didn't notice the switch was because, well, not to say she used the name, act like the victim, but, well, yeah, the victim's clothes and the mask and the voice changer. They want to know who's who. From what I can tell, Miss Jensen and the victim appear to have a similar physique. Furthermore, there was a rule requiring a mask to be worn during the auction. If their clothes were the same, I doubt anyone would have noticed she was a different person. Yes, I blended right in. I borrowed Miss Crane's clothes and... Ouch! You must have embarrassed the dead like that. I know. I also thought it was pretty heartless to leave her exposed like that. So when the conductor wasn't looking, I covered her up in the raincoat that was up for auction. So she was the one who put the red raincoat on the victim. And then the auction resumed as if nothing had happened. I reckon I took the picture of her in the red raincoat after that. That make all the facts line up. After I took the photo, I went over to the lift to sneak a peek down below. I witnessed the lift participants, and then I hightailed it back behind the statue. Don't tell me you were hiding there the entire time until we found you. Nah, that's, how should I put it? What is it? Did something happen? I didn't mention it before, but after that I might have dozed off a little. To be more precise, I fainted? Well, something like that. So something did happen! It ain't no big deal. Kinda embarrassing to say, though. There was this huge thump, a sound all of a sudden, and I was a little surprised by that. It was right after I had just witnessed a murder, so I was shaking in my boots. My heart sort of tightened up, and I was out to La La Land. When I woke up, it was already the next day, around the time y'all came by the storeroom. I see. So there was a large sound. Miss Hart, I take it you did not know what transpired in the storeroom beyond that point. I guess, but after the auction, all the masks were properly returned. So I reckon the participants had to exit through the storeroom, just like I done said. Ms. Jensen, what were your actions after the auction resumed? I took the victim's place and participated in the auction. The conductor instructed me to win the bid for the costume trunk, because the body was inside it. It would have been bad if another auction guest won the bid for it. You didn't realize the box was empty? No, we only found it when I came up to the storeroom to pay the bill. The conductor was with me and told me to go search for her immediately. And then I found another girl collapsed in front of the ladder. Okay. Yeah, she probably fell down from the roof and lost consciousness. Maybe the victim left the hatch open when she went up to the rooftop? I understand now. Kay was surprised at seeing the collapsed victim and did not notice the open hatch. She must have missed her footing and fell down into the storeroom. Miss Hart, I've determined the sound that made you faint. It was likely the sound of Kay falling onto the storeroom floor. That might have been it, though I reckon it'd be kind of pathetic to faint over something like that. When Miss Jensen found the unconscious Kay, Miss Hart was also unconscious behind the statue. The situation is becoming clearer to me. Miss Jensen, please continue your story. After I found Kay and the victim, I put them both in the trunk. If the customers at the auction found out, then that would have been a huge commotion. Was this an order from the conductor as well? Yes, it was. But since I secretly decided to put the raincoat on Miss Crane, I had to dispose of the raincoat without the conductor noticing. So the conductor didn't anticipate the raincoat becoming another piece of evidence. And finally, we dressed Miss Crane in a spare conductor's outfit. I see. In doing so, you made the victim appear as if she was the conductor. In the end, the auction ended without anyone noticing anything. Ms. Jensen, your crimes have become clear. If you know anything else, please hold nothing back. I want to help you more, but that's all I know. If I had to say, there's just one thing that bothers me. When I took Miss Crane's place, I borrowed her clothes. But there's no way for me to borrow her hair. Ouch! What kind of coroner's assistant goes around stealing a corpse's hair? I would think that robbing the deceased of their clothing would be questionable enough. Both the color and the length of our hair is different, so I was worried about how to disguise it. However, the conductor even had a wig prepared for me. In fact, he had two of them. Inside the costume trunk, there was both a straight wig and a wavy wig. 2 wigs? Why were there 2? Who knows? Maybe it was a precaution in case the victim had changed her hairstyle? I ended up using a straight wig to match Miss Crane's hair. So that means a wavy wig was left unused. So who the hell has wavy hair that I can't even think of? Well, wait a minute. Whatever. Is that really all you know? Yes. Yep, that's really all I know. So that means you don't know who the conductor is. I'm sorry. I only knew that person as the auction conductor. I never saw that person without a mask on. The conductor seemed to be on guard towards everybody. At this rate. Edgeworth, is that all you've got? Even if that little nurse is an accomplice, it changes absolutely nothing, you know? In the end, the true culprit is still Kay Faraday. All you did was add another criminal, you know? The rule of law cannot be overturned. At least, not for your sake. Is this as far as I go? Am I unable to save Kay? Objection! Francisca! Francisca, why are you here? Didn't I tell you, Miles Edgeworth? Wherever there's a case, I will follow. Prosecutor Von Karma, your hard work is most appreciated. However, don't get the wrong idea. I only came here to find out the truth behind what happened to Kay Faraday. I don't plan on forgiving you for abandoning a prosecutor's path. Name of the game. I understand. You should thank your former subordinate. He gave me some valuable information which may save Kay Faraday. Detective Gumshoe did? Listen well, Miles Edgeworth. This will be the final piece of evidence. Jill Crane suffered a wound on her head first. I think we all knew that. Yeah, see, her hair is a little wavy. Well, someone say something! Well, I hate to say it, but we already proved that. Already proved? Yes, well, just a few minutes ago. Ow! You should have told me sooner! You're the one who barged in here and started talking. Well then, does that mean you found out what the murder weapon was already? No, not yet. Is that so? Well, in that case, listen well. The victim was struck on the head with a blunt cylindrical object. The wound on her chest was suffered post-mortem. A cylindrical murder weapon? You know, this report of yours, I trust it's accurate, of course. These were the results of 2 independent autopsies carried out by 2 respected doctors. He sounds like he has something. That's reassuring. Oh, come on, I didn't even get the chance to read that. Interpol is after black market auctions, and I'm the prosecutor in charge of the investigation. The victim participated in the auction. Therefore, it's only natural for me to investigate. Especially now that she's been murdered. I see, I see. Clever girl, little Von Karma. Then it has been settled. The victim died from blunt force trauma to the head. Okay. Unfortunately, the murder weapon has yet to be found. Just knowing the shape of the murder weapon gives me an idea of what it might be. Hey! In my investigation, we didn't find any murder weapons, you know? If you consider the conductor's possessions and the crime scene, the answer should be clear. The blunt cylindrical object used in the auction hall was... I wouldn't say George Courtney's gavel, but... we don't know if it's actually a judge's gavel, but an auction has gavels, right? So, it's some type of gavel. It was something the conductor had in her hand during the auction. Namely, an auction gavel. An auction gavel? We didn't find anything like that! If the culprit is the conductor, it's possible the gavel might be the murder weapon. However, that alone is not reason enough, wouldn't you agree? Of course, I have proof to back it up. This piece of evidence proves that the murder weapon is the auction gavel. It is? What do we have here that shows that may be it? Blunt force trauma to the head, maybe by some... Well, I don't know how it doesn't really say that this is what that it was the actual gavel or not. Key card, letter, close. Check the testimonies real quick. The auction continued even after Jill. Oh, however, the sound of the gavel was not heard afterwards. There you go. According to Miss Hart's testimony, after the victim had been murdered, it seems that she suddenly stopped hearing the sound of the gavel during the auction. However, she had been able to hear it up until then. Why was that, you ask? It was because it had been used as a murder weapon and was covered in the victim's blood. It became necessary to dispose of it. Isn't that right? Blaze the best. I'll have a search for the murder weapon performed immediately. Well, good luck with that, you know. You've got to work as hard as you can. You've got to work as hard as you can while you're young, you see. He's completely confident we won't find it. Well then, while the search for the murder weapon continues, I hereby call for a brief recess. Okay then, that's actually It's actually a great time to stop then. I guess in the next episode, guys, we will see what happens. Hopefully find that murder weapon. And I have a feeling I know where this is going to be going towards. I mean, who the hell here is super suspicious? And honestly, that's usually how it works in these Ace Attorney games. They introduce a character in one of the things, and it's like, you know, who else is it gonna be? And it ends up being that person anyway. So I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Now we just gotta prove it and really gotta figure everything out. So, as usual, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for Let's Play Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutor's Path. I'll see you guys later.